Welcome to Wait, What? Let's Unpack That. I'm Shauna Day, and in this episode, I'm joined by my friend, Joy Cooper. Joy is an experienced high school guidance counselor, and today we're unpacking the lessons that often feel like losses. Let's unpack that. All right, y'all. Welcome to this episode. Listen, I got a treat for y'all today. She is a wife, a mother, a grandmother, a first lady, a singer. She's my family, but she's here with this
Yes.
conversation because she is a high school guidance counselor.
Mhm.
Welcome, my family, my friend, Lady Joy Cooper.
Hey, Lady Shauna Cohen, legacy personified. It's a pleasure to be here with you. It's a pleasure to be able to talk with you. It's good to talk. We don't get a chance to see each other very often, but I'm so glad to be a part of the conversation. And I'm glad that you called me because I think we have some very interesting things to share with people and a lot of great insight that hopefully will go forth and be able to help a lot of people down the line.
I agree. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate you being here. All right. So you told me a story when we gonna open it right on up. You told me a story when I talked to you a couple of weeks ago about your high school guidance counselor. And I want
Yes,
you to share that story because I know you're not the only one, but that's something that people really need to hear.
yes. So I was blessed to be able to travel long distance away from my home in the heart of Carroll City. Originally was supposed to go to Norland, and at the time and this is going way, way back, they had something called the M&M transfer. And it basically was a minority transfer where they were trying to get more minorities into certain groups in certain areas. So I got an opportunity, myself and my cousin and two other young ladies, to apply for entry into North Miami Beach High School. Fast forwarding the story, of course, when it came time to prepare, I really loved going to the school. It was a long distance away. I had to catch two buses with a transfer until I was able to get transportation, and my dad allowed me to drive. But suffice it to say, I really loved being in the school and being in the culture because it was a different environment. It was mostly Jewish at that time, not anymore. And I really got very motivated by some of the college tours. One of the places that we got an opportunity to visit was University of Miami. And for me at that time, as a little brown girl, that was a long, that was kind of far-fetched because almost everyone in my family is a Rattler, Rattler Strike, very proud. My family's been going to Florida A&M University since it was
Right.
FAM-C. My Uncle Ricky Thomas, FAM-C. Okay, my dad, my grandmothers, my aunt, everybody in the family. And I don't know what it was about just being on this campus. I just began to walk around that campus. I felt such a peace. And I said, I want to go here. And of course, it still was very expensive. Even back then, it's astronomical now.
Yes.
And so I told my guidance counselor at the time, who was she was the only Black counselor on staff. And I went to her and I said, I want to apply to go to University of Miami. And I asked her if she would do a letter of recommendation because that's the old school way. You go to your counselor, you ask, you do your application. And that's when you had to do application by
Right.
paper. And she promptly told me, no. She said, you are not. And my grades were good. Okay. My SAT scores, I'll be honest and tell you, I had a little struggle in the area of math, like many people do. But, you're not going to beat me talking. You're not going to beat me communicating. You're not going to beat me writing. I can write a paper. And back then, APA format, when you had to go to the library and get an encyclopedia
Not the
and
card
cite your
catalog.
sources. Yeah, all the stuff that these kids, have some difficulty with now, even though they have the computer in their hand. She promptly told me no. Shauna, she said, I'm not writing it. You're not University of Miami material.
Wow.
And even if you get in, you'll never make it. You won't, and you will not be a part of the culture. Just to begin to give me every reason why. But I watched her write letters of recommendation for knuckleheads, whose parents had the money and they could afford it. And because it's private. And it was very, very hurtful. But I became very resolute. I did my application anyway. I was actually waitlisted, so I guess she kind of knew what she was talking about. But my mom and I got in the car. We went down to Coral Gables. We met with an admissions officer. And it turns out they were looking for somebody just like me. So
Wonderful.
what it taught me is that, it's no harm in asking. You don't have anywhere to go but up. And it really inspired me in the area of communication and education, that now I always refer back to that when I deal with kids. No matter what they tell me they want, they can walk in and tell me they want to be an astronaut.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say, okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the stages. My answer is not gonna be, no, you can't be an astronaut. You don't have enough math, or you don't have enough. I'm gonna get you as close. My job is to get you as close to being them stars as I possibly can. I don't care if you are working on NASA's campus or whatever. I don't care. That's my job, and I take my vocation very seriously, because one thing I've come to find out, you never know what somebody, and the sky is the limit. It inspired me to do what I'm doing now because of her. No, I just learned a lot from that, and it helps me in my day-to-day walk in dealing with students now.
I love that story. I know that it is a story that many people have,
Hmm.
because there are people, based on whatever reason, who will judge you, who will size you up, and who will deem you as unworthy to do the thing, as opposed to maybe giving you some guidance as a guidance counselor of,
Hmm.
regarding, okay, maybe you do this, you might have to do that, but to just say flat out, no, I'm not going to write a letter of recommendation for a good student. Good
Or,
student.
or, or anybody, let me tell you something. I have really taken that to heart, Shauna, and I'm telling you, it drives me and propels me, because sometimes we lose our temper or we get short patient, and
Hmm.
I really have to refer back to it, because again, I don't ever want to be that person. What I've come to find out, even like going on social media and different sites, is that guidance counselors do get a bad rap. Okay.
True.
We're talking about, for me, my caseload now at my high school, and I only have a portion of the alphabet, but I would say my caseload, I have 9th through 12th graders with a certain alphabet. I'm about 330, maybe 320 to 330. And so, of course, it's impossible for me to reach every last one of them, but I really, really try to guide them through being able to pick their classes, making sure they're appropriately placed, making sure they have information about every opportunity and how to get there. Because I figure if I give them the information, then the industry, I put it in their hand, which is
Yes.
where it should be. We can't do everything for students. And parents have to learn that too. You can't do everything for your kid, but you can at least give them the tools. You don't cut their legs off and then tell them to run. You don't do that.
Right.
But
No,
you at
that's a
least
good one.
give them the opportunity. And you know what? If they fail forward because they have the information. I had a girl
Hmm.
today that I helped her. Oh, I helped her to get into dual enrollment. And she had to take the acuplacer, which is our version of the perk,
Hmm.
because she just wasn't doing that well. But she finally got in. And this semester, the one thing I said to her, she said, I want to take ENC 1101, which is the English. And
Hmm.
she's in the 11th grade. So I said, okay, you can take ENC 1101, but I want to make sure that you do the English 3, because she just got in for this semester. So she had the first half of it. Long story short, she found out today, I got the notification today that she failed ENC 1101.
Oh
And let
no.
me tell you what it was. I keep telling these kids, read your syllabus.
Oh,
So she had an A in the class, but she didn't do any of the class discussions for the professor. So she's going to appeal. She's going to try to appeal. And I talked to her mom. She was freaking out. Her mom was so upset. They both were so upset. And I said, listen, let's just stop. I said, you're going to ask for an appeal. Hopefully, you'll be restored. Maybe the professor will have mercy on you. Maybe the professor won't. But one thing about this, because you're in high school, you will never forget this lesson.
surely won't.
So even if you fail, you fail forward, because you're going to say to yourself, I'm going to read everything. I'm going to make
Yeah.
sure I do every assignment. I'm not going to leave anything to chance or anything for granted. And I know she's going to be a better student because of it. So again, that's a part of the learning process too. I know one of the things we were talking about before, parents get involved to a high degree, and they don't really allow students to sometimes come up short.
Yeah,
That's a part of the
that's
learning
part
curve
of it.
also. You
No,
can't
that's
fight.
part of it.
Yeah, you especially this time of the year, you're not gonna fight for listen, how you gonna fight the teacher over work you didn't do?
And you got nothing.
You got
You got
nothing.
what can you come back and say? Because if you were
Listen,
going through something, you would have already said it. You can't get to the end of the year and then trying to think of something, but
but
it
that's the
happened.
way the world works. That's how it's been going since COVID because
Yeah.
everything was, has been online. That's the way the submissions go. And these kids do wait until the last minute. So our job is to teach them, make them industrious, and again, give them the tools they need to be successful, but put the responsibility back in their hands.
No, you are so right about that. And I on the university side, I see what you're saying a lot. Students do not read. They don't read the emails. They don't even check their emails sometime. And
Yeah,
we're saying to them, the primary form of communication from the university is going to be your email, your university
absolutely.
email. We're not emailing you at peanut butter lover at Gmail. We're emailing your official university email, and there is an expectation that you're
Yes,
checking all sources. So, regardless of what the instructor may be using, that you're checking the chat, that you're checking the email, that you're using all of the tools so
mm,
that you are on top of it. And I see it time and time again where somebody said, well, I didn't know. But it was written, it's in
but
the
it's
syllabus,
there.
and that is your North Star when
So that's
you're,
the balance.
yeah.
That's actually the dichotomy of what we're talking about because I have more and more parents pushing their students into the ACE, the AP, and the dual enrollment.
Yeah.
I know you wouldn't believe this, but I've got two eighth graders coming to me from our feeder pattern middle school who are
Hmm.
already enrolled in dual enrollment.
Wow.
And the reason is because once you get a GPA, say they took algebra in middle school, which a lot of kids are, once
Hmm.
they have that unweighted 3.0, if they can somehow or another pass the Accuplacer, and some of them can, then
Yes.
they get a chance to do that. So they're coming in, getting ready to start. I don't necessarily believe in that always, but I feel like this, if you're going to put your child in that position or a student in that position, then you got to take everything that goes along with that,
Right.
including being responsible, because now the parent would like to cry, no, they didn't know any better, and they're just,
They're not
they're
used
just,
to it.
and they're just a child, and there ought to be some concession. No, if you play on a big girl, big boy playing field, you got to be willing to take everything that goes along with it, and that's probably one of the hardest things to help parents understand. So of course they're going to do an appeal, and it may work, it may not work.
Yeah,
You
it
never
may
know.
not. But what you're saying is absolutely right. There are a lot of people pushing for their students to get their children to get into dual enrollment,
Yes.
but not wanting to have the student be responsible like a college student. So one of the things that I tell parents and have told parents is that when they start, if they're in dual enrollment, when they start, we don't know that they're dual enrollment. Now, I know because I'm on the front side, but the truth is there's no little name tag that says, hi, I'm a dual enrolled student. You're a college student. So we're expecting that you understand whatever
Absolutely.
the college situation is. And if you don't know, to ask questions.
Yes.
And they don't, and they're not sure, and they go to the wrong people. That's the other thing I say. Don't ask your neighbor, don't ask your auntie,
Please
don't ask your
don't
cousin that
ask
went
your
to school
friend. Oh,
once 20
please say
years
that
ago.
again.
Don't.
I wish more listen, I hope people look at this and show it to their kids. Please, everybody's situation is different. Don't
Everybody.
ask your friends what they're doing, that classmate. For me, I like my dual enrolled students, especially the younger ones, to start out with the prereqs.
Mm-hmm.
What's
Mm-hmm.
wrong with taking humanities? When my daughter started dual enrollment, she started, first of all, I didn't let her start in ninth and 10th because we have a rule at our school. You get a D or F, you're out forever.
Oh,
So
wow.
I don't want you starting too early. And then not
Right.
only that, but my daughter had an opportunity to earn college credit through doing an AP or an ACE class. So you don't need to
Mm-hmm.
rush into dual enrollment. Um, so she started the summer before her 11th grade year. And I said, take humanities,
Yeah.
take speech. Don't be so quick to jump into a math or a
Right.
biology with a
Right.
lab. I mean, you don't even listen. you're not ready, you're not there yet. Just get your feet wet, learn how the system works, because a lot of kids get confused because they don't know how to navigate the
True.
platform, right?
Yep.
How to submit the work, how to communicate with the teacher. The way you communicate with your teacher on a college campus,
It's totally different.
baby, they don't listen. You'll be lucky if they answer your email. But we again, the kids have unfortunately been coddled since COVID, and we're still suffering the effects. Where it's I could turn in my work weeks down the line,
Oh, I know.
or
Or I get
submit it by Canvas.
multiple chances to do the same homework, the same test, the same. Yeah. Yeah. It's a bad habit. And so let me ask you, since we're on that, and you already talked about this, but maybe you have some other examples, but from your perspective, what are some of the biggest misconceptions that students and parents have about preparing for college? Because it's a lot of everybody wants, whether it's dual enrollment or freshman, everybody wants their children to go to college, but it's hard for them to get them to that point sometimes,
Mhm.
or it's hard for them to take their hands off of it. So what are some
Right.
of the misconceptions?
Well, it's multi-layered. One of the things I think is very important for parents to understand is that accommodations only go but so far, right? So an accommodation for a student is really supposed to level the playing field. We have
Mm-hmm.
certain students that have an IEP, or they may have a 504 plan that gives them extra time. Even now, students can submit a 504 plan to College Board to get extra time on the SAT, even to
Mm-hmm.
get extra time on
Mm-hmm.
ACT. And then
Right.
there's another test we're using, which you guys are probably seeing, the CLT, the College Learning Test. So
Mm-hmm.
all of those can get a student bright futures. And a lot of times parents are advocating for their students to have that extra time because, again, it's a
Right.
holdover since COVID that everybody gets extra time, time and a half, even double time. But what
Right.
they don't understand is that once you get to college, you could submit that to, I guess, maybe on your college campus, they might have an office of exceptionality or student.
Accessibility services, disability services, yes.
Right. And I learned this the hard way with my middle son because, of course, when he started at Tallahassee State College with Tallahassee Community, that he submitted all of he had an individual educational plan,
Mm-hmm.
also from home education that we submitted. And one thing I've come to find out, and I always make sure the students know and parents, is that what you're doing in high school, you have to make sure that it does prepare you for college because it's not always going to be accepted, nor
Yes.
will it be regarded. So students get used to it. But what we have to start doing is maybe in elementary school and middle school, we're utilizing that. But we really have to start weaning those students as they get into like ninth, 10th, and especially
Mm-hmm.
11th grade to understand that you really only need to use it when you need to use it because there's no
Mm-hmm.
guarantee that when you get to college, even if you get in by getting extra time on SAT,
Mm-hmm.
even when you get in, there's no guarantee that the college or university that you go to is going to regard it in any way, shape, or form. That's a very hard concept. I've had parents that call me and this first year bright futures, and they're on the verge of losing bright futures because they
Mm-hmm.
can't keep the grades because we've taught them to ask for extra time. We've taught
Mm-hmm.
them that you got all day. And that is a bad place to be when you're in college because you and I both know that does not work in the
and
real world.
And here's it not, yeah. And here's the thing, at the university level, we definitely have disability services, accessibility services, and a lot of support, whether
Right.
it's silent testing, extended test time, but it is always up to the student
Right.
to
It is student
initiate that.
driven. Right.
And I've heard some of the people in that particular office and in that space say it's better to go ahead and get registered. Now the process is different.
Oh,
Whereas the student,
you
you have to
presented.
go right. You have to go through the process. You have to bring whatever documents
Right.
from your provider and things like that, and that's what they'll use. And if you need it, it's better to have those things in place. But it
Right.
doesn't mean that it doesn't the instructors are supposed to honor it, but it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that you have months to do a lesson.
Exactly.
It doesn't
Exactly.
mean that somebody is going to be tapping you on your shoulder to say, hey, did you do that homework? Don't forget, did you sign up for this? Did you do?
Right.
It's not that.
It's completely different.
It's completely different. Yeah.
And the student has to be more autonomous about their grade. That's what we have to start teaching, that if you're going to advocate, do the work.
Yeah.
If you're going to advocate for yourself, which every student should advocate for themselves, but
True.
if you get the opportunity, do the work. If it means that you have to, I told my son, he was really struggling with math. I said, listen, you've got to go to the resource room.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to go and see if there's a tutor available. And then you've got to actually do the work. You
Yeah.
know, if you get any type of support, accommodation, take advantage of it and do the work. And I think that's a hard thing for parents. Also, going back to the issue of preparation, I don't know if you've seen it or if they have it in your area. There's many different ways for college prep to take place.
Mm-hmm.
There's Khan Academy, of course,
Yeah.
preparing for the SAT, they're the authors. But there's something new we have in our county called varsity tutors.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Mm-hmm.
Varsity tutors, they have a college admissions portion, and they
Mm-hmm.
basically help students even from ninth grade. And it's
Yes.
never too early to start looking. Now, does that mean we have to push the kids into college? No. What it means is that every parent should familiarize their student with at least the process,
Mm-hmm.
for what it's going to take to get into college,
Mm-hmm.
and not be waiting until the last minute to prepare for SATs. Don't wait till the last minute to prepare for the ACT or whatever it is you get. Mostly
Right.
all of these programs, they got study guides. They got
True.
free prep. At my
Yep.
school, I'm not even going to tell you the amount of money I have parents paying with supposed guarantees of entry. Y'all parents, be careful out there. Watch out for these people
Right.
who are telling you these all astronomical amounts of money
Mm-hmm.
and telling you with this, because there are no guarantees to anything. But what we
No.
can do is make sure students are prepared. I also encourage kids, even if they're young, if you got a dream school, and this is part of my personal story, call admissions. Talk to an admissions officer. You can even tell them how old you are. Hey, this little Johnny, I'm 14 and I want to go to your school. And you know what? Because they have it, their admissions officers, they're there to talk and they're there
True.
to get people to come to their school. And I think it's good. College tours are good as well to really stimulate the mind of
Yep.
students. Even if you don't take them on a college tour, you take them. You
Yeah.
know, I have a mom. She said, "Oh, he got to get out my house." She drove her son up to FAU. She said, "Let's go to FAU. Let's just walk around, whatever, or wherever." There's a lot of great schools in Florida and
Yeah.
all around. But I think that's an important part as well. Just starting to stimulate the mind. It doesn't have to be anything so broad.
Rigid. Yeah.
Right, right. It's just a matter of exploration for a student where they need to open their mind up. And again, we're sitting here with these computers, with these devices. We're on TikTok. We're on this. We're on everything else. But you have the opportunity even to explore a college campus virtually now. They have virtual tours
True.
that they
Oh,
offer,
I know. Yeah. Definitely.
right?
But
So,
what's so interesting about what you're saying is you're right. I saw recently that Varsity Tutors was doing the counseling, the college prep, that kind of stuff, and starting them, I think, as early as eighth and ninth grade.
yep.
And that's good. There are some students that are focused and right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everybody needs to be exposed to some level of that. And
Right.
not just because what I do see is a lot of times with some of those programs, they're looking for those students that are trying to get into the Ivy Leagues, into some of those. And the truth is the admission standards for some of them, you can be a 4.0 student and still not get in because there are other standards than your GPA. And that's one of the things that I
Absolutely.
recognize a lot of students don't realize, and a lot of parents don't realize it.
Right.
Everybody's
It's
not
not in
getting
the
in.
grades. It's not
Yeah,
in the grades.
that's
We
not
had
the only
senior
factor.
we had senior awards night last night. And girl, let me tell you, do you know how many parents I had come up to me and tell me that their student had a 4 point this or that whatever, and wonder how come they didn't get any award? Because what was the standard is no longer the standard. A
Yeah,
4.0, that's almost like
yeah,
your reasonable service. We don't have kids just finishing with a 4.0. And I don't want to discourage anybody, because let me tell you something. I
yeah.
believe that the students are students. They're not a grade. You're not a grade. You're not a GPA.
Right.
And I feel like as long as you're trying your hardest and doing your best, the reward is going to come back to you in some form or fashion. But we have a lot of people that are very entitled about that, and they just automatically believe. So, okay, that's something I wanted to bring up. So I have parents and students that fight for the grade, but not the knowledge.
Oh, bad.
Wait, what?
Listen,
What?
that's a wait what moment, but you're right because everybody wants the grade. So,
But you don't want to do the work.
go ahead. Let me
But you
let you
going
preach.
but you gonna fight. You gonna come out to that school. You gonna
Man,
fight because you want that GPA. But
yeah,
at the end of the day, do you know the material? Because it's coming back again. It's like the old folks you say, it's coming back around.
it's coming back
Don't think
around.
you're going to get away with. So we have presentation on paper because that's
Mm-hmm.
what, parents and kids think that's what they're looking for. They're looking for
Mm-hmm.
this great GPA. They're looking for my and it's good to be well-rounded. My
Of
club
course.
activity, my community service, all that's great. But I'm gonna tell you something. If you don't know anything,
Yeah.
it's coming back around. Even if you get into school, our rate of recidivism from Bright Futures is 50, almost 50 to 51% of
Yeah.
students lose their scholarship within the first year.
Oh, I know why. And some of that goes back to what you said about the syllabus, not following direction, not reading, and not comprehending what you're reading. Now I'm on the reading and the comprehension. That was some of these people just calling words, but that's a whole nother, that's a
Right,
whole nother. But
right.
you're
Can you
right.
do math? Can you do math? Let me tell you, my daughter, she's brilliant. She's gifted. Well, when it came to that math and
Mm-hmm.
that year that she really sat out, because I
Mm-hmm.
think hit her when algebra 2. So
Mm-hmm.
she started algebra early, geometry, algebra 2. Baby, if you ask me how much algebra 2 did my daughter do that year, nothing. And it showed because that was a hard area for her once she
Yeah.
started college. She really did struggle with the math and she struggled. She had to there's a program called Modern States,
Mm-hmm.
and she had to
Oh,
clip the MAC 1105 because the first time she took it, she was like, I got to drop this class. I don't know what's going on. And so, again, it comes down to a knowledge. It's not just a matter of how good you look on paper, but
right.
it's also having the knowledge and then also opening yourself up to other experiences. Like, for example, not just going to college, but also considering technical
True.
colleges. All of our technical schools here in Dade and Broward are technical colleges,
Mm-hmm.
and they are marvelous gateways for students to be able to get to the profession. I've got some students now who are doing things like surgical tech and other things where they're making a lot of money, and it's the
Right.
gateway for them to get into medical school. They may not have done that well in some of the biology or the
Mm-hmm.
chemistry, but they're getting the knowledge now through working through the technical schools or technical colleges. And I have no doubt that they're going to get right. My goddaughter Paige, she just graduated from Miami-Dade. She started at Stranahan in their medical magnet, and she was supposed to be able to have earned her LPN, but when COVID hit, they
Mm-hmm.
stopped them from going to the hospitals.
Mm-hmm.
So she couldn't finish. So she's finished her LPN and she's getting ready to start her RN. And that happened as a result of her kind of switching gears. And in order to do that, Miss Shauna, people got to really learn how to be flexible. We have to be flexible with our kids too and
True.
allow them to explore some other options that will still get them to that goal.
Well, that's the thing. It's the flexibility, but it's also being okay with where you are. And so many people want to go to college or want to go to the university because that's where my cousin went. That's where my uncle went. That's where my best friend going to whatever university.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe if you sit with yourself and if you can have an honest conversation with your parents, maybe that's not really what you want to do, but that's what a lot of people are pushed into doing.
Mm-hmm.
Here, the technical colleges have articulation agreements with the university. So a certain amount of transfer credit, if you're there and you do well, those credits will automatically transfer. So there's
Absolutely.
so many things that people aren't aware of, but when you're just making decisions based off of your friends and your cousins
Right.
like that, you can find yourself somewhere not doing well and really kind of messed up. I said, let's visit the schools, because sometimes people want to go places and they never stepped on that campus. And when you get on some of these campuses, this is what happened to me. Some of these campuses are ginormous.
Right.
And if you're not someone who can quickly find your tribe and
Or
find your place,
adapt.
right, you can easily get lost. And I've seen that happen, whereas
Yes.
sometimes they know I'm probably better off in a smaller environment.
Right.
But they don't want to do that because their friends are going to the big
Right.
universities or
Right.
wherever. And you just really have to be honest with yourself, be honest with your parents. Parents need to listen. The conversations you should be having,
Right.
sometimes they might be tough,
Because
but
it's going
you
to
gotta have them.
cost. Right.
Yeah.
You have to have it now because this is a big business. Okay.
Mhm.
We can't go around that. It's business.
It is.
I love when I see philanthropists stepping forward to make sure that students get opportunity.
Mhm.
It's terrible, the state of education in Florida, in the United States, where it's just so driven, where I have kids crying in my office that they didn't do anything else but study. They got the
Yeah.
grades, they got the SAT scores, they got the bright futures, but unfortunately the school is looking to make money, and schools do not make money from like the Florida lottery system funding
Right.
education.
Right.
So a lot of my students had to switch gears and say they'll do the direct connect, or the what we call 4x4, 2x2, 4x4, where they're going to start at BC first, or they're going to start at Valencia College first,
Yeah.
or they're going to start at Santa Fe first, and then get automatic entry, because 75% bright futures is like 100% at BC.
Right.
And I'm a parent that knows firsthand. I tell the Lord, thank you every day. Because my daughter recently, she's now starting Monday at FIU. So she's finished her 2 years at BC, and she did the Direct Connect program to FIU. And when I got that bill, I said, BC sounded like a very good option to me, you know. So again, we have to open up. We got to have those hard conversations,
Yeah.
and we really have to allow students the opportunity to explore something different for themselves. Right. Don't feel that they have to judge themselves by other people, because I'm going to tell you something. If the students that watch this later on, just know your friend's lying to you.
All right. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Wait, What? Let's Unpack That. We intentionally ended this episode right here because the rest of the conversation deserves its own space. Be sure to come back for part 2. You won't want to miss where the conversation goes next. If you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Until next week, remember, every experience has something to teach us. No losses, just lessons. I'm Shauna Day.